Funding for NEOtropolis has been provided by the following.
Hello, I'm Lester Lefton. Kent State University is proud to sponsor NEOtropolis, a program that looks at the forces that impact the region. Kent State is one of those forces. As a center of educational excellence and as an economic development engine, our efforts at Kent State have a powerful and positive impact on the region through research and development, the arts and innovation, and preparing our graduates to compete in the global marketplace. I hope you enjoy the program, and I invite you to learn more about Kent State University.
The John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, supporting transformational ideas that promote informed and engaged communities.
Hello and welcome to NEOtropolis, the show that brings you stories about the forces of technology, globalization, and diversity, how they affect our lives right here in Northeast Ohio. I'm your host, Luke Frazier. Tonight, it's all about changes right in front of our eyes. We'll take a look at liquid crystal technology that displays pretty lights on our iPhones, observe the new wonders showing up on our car's dashboard, and welcome the world to Northeast Ohio using universal language of computers. The stars are aligning and the lights are bright. Take a journey with NEOtropolis tonight. Tonight's episode is called Starlight and Feature Bright. Joining me now, Stacy Shelton, blogger, consultant, NEOtropolis contributor.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, we talk about the future a lot on this program,
We do.
and in all kinds of big ways. But tonight we're going to bring it down to car dashboards and the LCD crystals that come in phones and different kinds of lighting displays.
Very cool.
And so what we want to make it is that, you know, people can talk about their gadgets and the things that they do in their world. We had excuse me, the future's calling.
Really?
It's Craig. It's Craig. Craig, you'll be on in a couple seconds, okay? Chill. He's rushing the future is what he's doing.
I see.
So we had a question out there this week.
We did. So our question was, as you look into the future, what kind of new technological gadget do you wish for that doesn't exist yet?
Did we have any responses so far?
We had a lot of responses.
Okay.
Nikki Marchman Boykin said, you know, she likes to travel, so she wishes that she had some sort of pad like on Star Trek where she could plug in her coordinates and be transported to where she would like to go.
Teleport me somewhere else and
Yes.
take me,
Yes.
Calgon, take me away.
Yeah, no more 12-hour plane rides.
Oh, God, that would be nice. What
Very
about you?
nice.
What would you like?
I would like a holographic whiteboard that I could take from place to place so I can make it appear for my
Just
work.
for memory of things to do or more work-wise?
Work-wise.
Yeah.
So I could take my work, it would be portable. Like, you ever see Minority Report? It's
Yes.
very cool. One of
Yes.
those, something
Okay.
like that.
Oh, so I could see you sporting that,
Yeah,
going
I would
around.
like that.
Great. So listen, we want to hear from you about what gadgets you dream of. You can text us at 440-345-6745. Of course, you can post at neotropolis.org or go on to Facebook and really tell us, what is that gadget that you want? What is that gadget you love to see? And then we'll be able to read some of those on the air later. Thanks, Stacy. We will see you later.
Thanks. I'll see you later.
Be part of the conversation. Follow us on Twitter at NEOtropolis TV and on Facebook, YouTube, and Google+. When you visit neotropolis.org, check out the archives and sign up for our e-newsletter.
Every time you pick up your smartphone, you're dealing with smart crystals. Jennifer Boris has our story.
Major role for years in developing the liquid crystal technology. So we can use things like flat screen TVs and our cell phones, and here in their building they're even using their own technology, and it is definitely not business as usual.
I think it'd be fair to say that we are viewed around the world as being the originator and kind of the mecca of liquid crystal research.
The Institute is about 46 years old, but Dr. John West has been involved with the research and development of this technology for 25 years. In the past, he's acted as VP of Research and Director of the Institute.
The initial group here at Kent State was really responsible for reinvigorating research in liquid crystals. The first company to make an LCD was here in Kent, Ohio.
And this is the first digital wristwatch made in Kent and now kept behind glass at the Institute's small museum.
In doing this research, sort of pioneered the modern version of it, and very much found ourselves in the right place at the right time when the idea that we might be having things like laptop computers and full-color flat-screen TVs.
Today, the Institute continues to pave the way for innovative spin-offs of this technology. But first, you might be wondering, what exactly is a liquid crystal?
The term liquid crystal actually sounds a little bit like an oxymoron. I mean, liquid and crystal, the two are kind of opposed to one another. Usually when you think of something being crystalline, you think of it as being a rigid solid.
So Dr. West says he tries to explain it in everyday terms.
The image I use for people to understand the liquid crystalline phase is if you were taking logs and put them in a river and you're going to float them down to the sawmill. Naturally, when you put those logs in the river, they all, because of the way they want to pack, they all point in the same direction. But they'll flow with the water and move and point in different directions. And actually, the properties of those logs, whether they're viewed as cylinders or long, rigid rods, depends on what direction you look at them from. That's the liquid crystal phase.
He says everything in the liquid crystal phase depends on controlling what direction those molecules go.
In fact, the displays, your flat panel TV, all you're doing is taking the liquid crystal molecule, putting an electric field on it, and it stands up. Turn it off, it lays down. And the appearance changes. And I make all the images in a liquid crystal display. My digital wristwatch, my laptop computer is all based on that phenomenon.
It's now a $150 billion a year industry, used in many different applications. But what a lot of the general public may not realize is that it has taken decades of work to develop the properties and materials for these applications.
So it really has changed how we engage with one another. The whole ability to text is, you're texting on a liquid crystal display.
Right now, most liquid crystal displays are made with glass. But Dr. John West says they are working on the next generation, made with plastic.
The key issue with glass is you've got to make one at a time, as opposed to a roll of plastic that you just print displays on and cut them out at the end.
Some local companies are already doing the first manufacturing of a liquid crystal device on plastic substrate.
We're certain that the flexible is going to come, that the manufacturing will come and it'll be a major industry. We're trying to make it happen here and stay here. It's already happening here. We're taking a lead here. Building a consortium, working with the state, working with local development agencies, working with companies that all have the same goal in mind, to get them together and take an early lead, which we are doing.
Dr. West says the possibilities of this new liquid crystal display is really only limited by our imaginations.
One of the ones they're looking at is so this is my iPhone with a neat red case around it. Is to adapt this technology so I press a button and the case changes color.
Sounds like what might become a worldwide fashion trend gets its start right here in Kent, Ohio. Now we'll turn to NEOtropolis contributor, big idea man Craig James, but he's at the big people's table tonight, and with his partner Sue James. And listen, I wanted to bring you guys on to talk about what the work you're doing to help investigate and adapt to the future. Okay? But first tell me about yourselves a little bit. People don't really know. You're from Northeast Ohio originally.
Both of us are originally from Northeast Ohio, go back generations.
Yeah.
We even went to school in Northeast Ohio.
We
Separately,
did.
but
We did.
Separately.
schools.
And you graduated, and Craig...
I almost did.
Okay.
I came close. I tried.
So listen, a lot of...
But our careers, if you want to know, both have tech backgrounds. We both worked for major
Corporations.
Corporations and all that fun stuff. And then we went out on our own for 10 years, less years now.
Yeah, well, that's what's been great about having Craig and talking about the ideas, that I know there's some fuel behind those ideas from you, Sue.
You're getting the real stuff tonight.
The real stuff, okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about something called Smart, Simple, Mobile.
Right, you got it right. Thanks. Smart, Simple, Mobile is a system. And why do we need a system? Right, we're talking about the future and all this technology stuff. And the future is basically, a big long marathon, but it starts with a sprint. And Smart, Simple, Mobile is a sort of a way to help get trained on how to handle all this change that's happening to us.
So it's a strategy, it's a assistance, an approach.
It's a system, a strategy, and approach. It has a lot to do with brain science, how we interact with technology, how we cope with the change we're going through, because so much is happening all at the same time.
Right. So where do you want to take this? Where do you want to inject that into our world?
Where? I think everyone's going to need it. It needs to be a future generations, current generations, because we're making this major shift from an industrial revolution, industrial era, where we were told it's yes, no, have the right answer. Now we really need to realize just how much we need to be able to think on our own, think quickly, assess, because we have information, data, misinformation, messages and marketing just being thrown at us out of water cannon.
It really is
overwhelming. How do we filter that?
Well, it sounds to me, this may be where you're going. It sounds to me like it's a way that you can engage with your world by helping others who are also engaging in the future.
Well, I think that's true. I mean, we're dead serious about doing what we can to help people and ourselves in the world and thrive through all this change. So Smart Simple Mobile is a part of a platform. It has a lot to do also with this thing we're calling Screwball University.
Oh,
yeah.
Screwball.
University. Versus somebody become nervous here.
That's right. And
no
live
competition.
TV,
No competition.
And that's a community of thinkers and thinking. So it's also an effort to connect people because we learn from each other.
Right. Well, you learn from NEOtropolis, too, and the guests we have on here.
Except that host guy.
Yeah, except the host.
Right.
But so tell me how, again, Smart Simple Mobile, how does it fit into their other efforts that you're going on in Northeast Ohio from Craig and Sue James?
Well, it's one of adaptism is something that we consider is a philosophy that's behind all of this, which is as Darwin, when he talked about survival of the fittest, it wasn't strongest or smartest. It was the person who could adapt. It was the species, the one that could adapt is the one that would live. So die or adapt, take your pick.
Yeah. I think adapt.
Yeah, adapt.
Okay.
Adapt.
And so adapting has to do with our ability to be conscious of what we're doing, to have clarity and make choices. And what about Northeast Ohio? Well, it's going to be a little blunt. We're here in Northeast Ohio. And movements like this that really take us into the future, why not here?
And as well as it's a networked community. It is entrepreneurship is where business is going. The economy will be thrust around the globe. Phil Auerswald from George Mason University has written a book, The Coming Prosperity, which talks all about that it's going to be led through entrepreneurship.
That's excellent. Well, where can people find out more about what you're talking about?
The smartsimplemobile.com website links and crawls to all these other resources, some of the books and articles that we mentioned on our other websites as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. I really appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks for having us.
And I really thank you for your ideas that you bring almost every week here, Craig.
It's been a real treat.
Craig and Sue, thank you both for being here. You know, as Craig and Sue and I were talking about how the forces of technology surround us, they demand a response. I started thinking about another kind of demand in Northeast Ohio. I think the world demands that a region continues to grow or face stagnation of people and ideas. One organization trying to rejuvenate our mix of residents and ideas is called Global Cleveland, and I went down to check out their headquarters. I'm here at the Global Cleveland Welcome Hub in downtown Cleveland. But this is not your typical visitor center where you might go in and get a couple maps of the area. This is a full-service center for newcomers to Northeast Ohio. Whether you're from Poughkeepsie or Peru, Los Angeles or Lesotho, they want you to come and enjoy the wonderful life we have right here in Northeast Ohio. Let's go inside and talk to the man in charge, Global Cleveland President Larry Miller.
I'm Larry Miller. I'm the president of Global Cleveland. Global Cleveland is an organization that was created in 2011. And our objective is to attract 100,000 people to Northeast Ohio and to make Northeast Ohio a welcoming place for people of all backgrounds. Organizations in Northeast Ohio are competing and working in a global marketplace. So in order to be successful, they need to find talent that has experience all over the globe. So that's one of the things we help organizations in Northeast Ohio do, is find pipelines so that they can access that talent.
My name's Elizabeth Ehart, and I lead up the Boomerang Initiative at Global Cleveland. The Boomerang Initiative is our attraction strategy directed at former Clevelanders who might be interested in returning back to Cleveland. A lot of our best assets are people who've left Cleveland and want to return back and put their experience, skills, and talents to work here.
Northeast Ohio as a region made the decision that we needed to have a group of people that was looking at what we're trying to do economically and how we're trying to grow our region, and then attend to the talent needs that go along with that, and especially to look after attracting talent into the region.
Where do you go? Who do you speak to? In Cleveland, you know, you can make a couple of phone calls and you can get in front of people who can really make a lot of change here. we can't really just look at ourselves as a location in Ohio. We're a location in the world, and we're competing on a global level.
We're trying to bring people in from all over the world and all over the United States, and we want people from everywhere to know that they are welcome here in Northeast Ohio.
There's a true sense of community here, civic engagement. If you want to get involved, you can. If you want to make a difference, you can.
I think it's important for us to be very proud of our region and to express that pride to others. That it's not just a place to come for the weekend or come as a tourist, but to take a look at it as a place to come to work, to live, and to grow.
So if you're wondering how you can get involved in attracting newcomers to the region, check out the work being done here at the Global Cleveland Welcome Center. I think you're going to find that you can get here from anywhere over there. It really makes me want to go out for some international food tonight, thanks to Travis Pollard and crew. Now a man who is both international in ideas and cuisine, NEOtropolis' own cultural anthropologist, Dr. Dave Perusik.
Hey, Luke. How are you tonight?
I am great. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
So the future. Right?
Future.
I always go back to, I think on show number 1, you told me that culture indicates webs of significance. Mm-hmm. And I've stuck with that because when you think of something like the future, there's different ways to signify it.
Yeah, those webs are certainly comprised of a multitude of strands. One of them, and a pretty important one, is a people's relationship to time, sense of space. It's really highly variable. It's really impossible to talk about the future apart from a conversation about the social construction of time.
Yeah. Well, we seem ruled by time, though, in our culture at least.
Yeah,
we
do.
We have 3 minutes left in this interview, and it's always about that time.
Yes,
and what's coming next.
Absolutely. Modernity is notable in part for its relationship to time, an incredibly rigid construction of lineal time. Time is money, money, time. Of course it's not. The Hopi of the Native American Southwest don't even have a word for time in their vocabulary. How different would that shape one's experience of reality?
Well, we're talking tonight about the future, like we do a lot. But in this case, it's like, what does the future look like in gadgets? Right? What does the future look like in cars? Mm-hmm. What is, help me to understand how cultures can deal with different symbols of the future.
Well, you know what? It is, again, a hallmark of modernity to demarcate time in such a way that the future becomes this almost reified, tangible entity that people anticipate. When I speak of modernity, two of the things I'm speaking of are industrialism and capitalism, price market economies. And what they do is both together sort of denigrate the past. In fact, it wouldn't be too strong a statement to say that modernity produces a kind of contempt for the past and an orientation toward the future in which the individual learns to long for, I would say even lust for, the next new taste, the next new experience, the next new gadget.
More, what's next? How can I get...
Well, and let me say, too, that with that contempt for the past comes a tremendous dissatisfaction with the present.
Right, because we're constantly looking at, I wish... we might be wishing that something hadn't happened, and then we just want to dismiss it and maybe not even learn from it. So we're left with wanting and wishing for the future and ignoring what's right here, right now.
Yeah, and when people talk about a rat race or the image of being like a hamster on the wheel, future, what's next, what's next? And one is never present temporarily in the here and now.
That's one of my favorite writers in the blog this week. I got to mention him is Don DeLillo, and he talks about the speed of the internet forcing us to live permanently in the future. Are there cultures that try to put the brakes on a little bit? I mean, we think of Europe and we take it more easy and or siesta in Latin culture.
Oh, my God, that's you're going to really open the floodgates here for me to get carried away.
But we don't have time for that.
Yeah. Just in terms of the industrial West, we work more hours. Every European country, Australia, Japan, and New Zealand, the governments where they're still functioning as governments, not just government off our backs and deregulation, they mandate that every single employer provide 4 weeks paid vacation for every employee in the country. It's federal law. Even private employers.
Now here that would be, we can't have that kind of interference.
That's exactly right. In this very nihilistic government off our backs, which means absolute, anarchy, corporate rule, fascism. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, I could really get hyperbolic about it.
Well,
because that is a different orientation toward time, isn't it?
And it's a different orientation to the future. That if I worry about the future, then I have to work that much harder to keep that worry at bay, or somehow, not fall apart because of it. So my future orientation leads to more worry in the present. I mean, that seems to be what happens.
Well, concern for the future is certainly a way of manipulating the present, isn't it?
Yeah.
In very grand ways and in very particular ways. There have been many arguments made that a feature of contemporary life in industrial and post-industrial societies is the manipulation of fear. I would say there's a schizophrenic relationship in this society to the future, or the idea of the future. Coming out of the Enlightenment, there's an assumption that progress is inevitable.
Pilgrim's Progress, stuff like that.
Well,
we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it right there. Great thoughts as always. Thank you for being here, Dave.
Thank you, Luke.
So one of the many ways that people relate to their surroundings, the significance of that around them, is through their cars. And cars keep getting more and more sophisticated, technology crammed under their hoods and flashing on the dashboards. Let's go for a ride with Katie the Car Lady.
This is so cool. You can start the car, you can get in and out of the car, you don't even have to take it out of your pocket. It's awesome. Check this out.
I'm here with Katie the Car Lady, and she's going to show us some advanced technology in this car. We're going to ride around and see what's going on. On NEOtropolis, our true north is how technology affects us and impacts our day-to-day life. Talk to me about how this technology affects us.
We love it. It makes our life so easy. It's awesome. Being in the car business, I've watched it change from cars not even having air conditioning, and now we can have our whole life in our car. But the frustration with that is it doesn't always do exactly what we want it to do.
Please say a command.
Play iPod.
iPod is not connected.
I believe that Bluetooth should be on every single car that comes out of the factory. We are so connected to our phones and answering and searching, and it does put other people on the road in danger when we are trying to check emails. The car can do that for you and make your life so easy without having to dig through your purse.
Please say a command.
Read text messages.
Are there any technologies that you think kind of go too far, that are maybe just not necessary or maybe even negative?
This is an opinion. I love the technology. I will say, though, at what point are we not connected to our emails and our text messages?
Meaning, at what point should we not be connected?
At what point do we give ourselves a break to be focusing on what we're doing, which is driving? And I do think that sometimes Bluetooth can be rude when you have a group of people in the car and you're talking on your Bluetooth. And those of you out there who have Bluetooth, always tell your people that call they are on speakerphone.
It's a very polite thing to do.
Please say a command.
Dial 440.
Dial 4406. Hello?
You know, we talk about some of them being more of a lifestyle enhancement and some of them are about safety features. What do you see as the difference?
That's a great question. Interesting. I would probably, now that you even have cars like Lexus will park your car for you, they have things that will tell you you're switching lanes if you're tending to nod off. Technology has come so far and there's so much coming down the pipeline. I would love to see truly them really fine-tune so people aren't so distracted by it.
Please say a command.
Read text messages.
What are your messages for anyone who's out there looking for a car, what they should do?
There is so much information out there in the car marketplace. I think everybody should have a go-to person. A lot of my clients, I help them save time and money and show them how to navigate and car shop without getting just totally confused by not only technology, but all the information that technology brings to us through our computers and our phones. And I'm always willing to help anybody and give them good information.
Please say a command.
Play FM radio.
You know, the graphics on those displays look really cool. Thanks to Mr. Larry Baker for taking that ride with us. Finally, let's hear from Stacy about what imaginations our viewers had. What are they thinking about gadgets?
Well, lots of gadgets.
Yeah.
People are dreaming up some really cool stuff. So we had Patrick Britton, who said that he wishes his entire desk and walls were all touchscreen.
So it's more like a virtual, virtual office, but so you could do it from anywhere, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you
that
wouldn't have to go to a office.
Would be great. But
What else
he's
we
like,
heard?
Everything around me touchscreens. And Nicole said she liked a Jetson style feature where she could have like her own Rosie.
Good.
Who
would do what they're supposed to do.
Absolutely. She could program her and everything would be done when she got home.
Any final ones?
Yeah, and Chris said the ability to project his presentations without needing a projector.
You know, it's interesting. People really see it as work context, too. I mean, we think of gadgets, it's not just for amusement. It might be for the things that we do for work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just make it convenient and easy.
That's right.
Very
Thank
cool.
you so much for sharing those with us.
Fun.
And that's all from NEOtropolis tonight. Thanks for joining us, and keep in touch during the week at neotropolis.org and Facebook. We love to hear from you at any time with suggestions for stories, comments, how we're doing, whatever. We'll be taking a pledge break for the next 3 weeks so you can support Western Reserve Public Media, all the great programming here. Join us again on June 19th. I'm Luke Frazier. Good night.
Funding for NEOtropolis has been provided by the following.
My sister is incredible.
You wouldn't believe what my sister's doing.
She works at msnbc.com.
She's a nurse.
She helps deliver online news to the world.
She goes out and helps homeless veterans.
She's amazing.
She's an angel.
I've always known Gina was ambitious, but she found her true sense of purpose.
Joan really found direction
at Kent State. My name is Joan Stykes-Jenkins.
And I'm Gina Stykes-Schuhalter.
And we're proud graduates of Kent State University.
The John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, supporting transformational ideas that promote informed and engaged communities.